World War II reshaped the entire world, but even after decades of research, historians are still discovering stories that sound almost unbelievable. Secret operations, unlikely heroes, and moments where history changed because of a single decision. Tonight, we're counting down 10 surprising facts about World War II Part 3, and one of these stories involves a weapon so strange, scientists themselves weren't sure it would work. Stay with me, because the number one fact reveals a mission so daring. It helped shorten the war in Europe. Let's begin. Number 10. One man saved an entire city by doing nothing. There was a moment during World War II when a single man may have accidentally saved an entire city by doing absolutely nothing. In 1962, during the height of the Cold War, a Soviet officer named Vasily Arkhipov was stationed aboard a nuclear submarine. But the story actually begins during World War II. Arkhipov had already survived one of the most dangerous naval battles of the war, serving on submarines where a single mistake could mean instant death. Years later, that experience would shape a decision that could change history. During a tense standoff, the submarine he was on lost contact with Moscow. The crew believed nuclear war might have already started. They prepared to launch a nuclear torpedo, but there was one condition. All three senior officers had to agree. Two said yes. Arkhipov said no. He refused to authorize the launch. Inside a silent, overheated submarine, under extreme pressure, he made a decision that likely prevented a nuclear war. Number 9. The spy who had a fake army in his head. During World War II, one of the most valuable Allied spies never actually gathered real intelligence. He made it all up. His name was Juan Pujol Garcia. At first, he offered his services to the Allies and was rejected. So instead, he approached Nazi Germany. They believed him and recruited him as a spy. But there was one problem. He was completely untrained and had no network. So he created one out of nothing. Pujol invented dozens of fake agents across Britain, each with their own personalities, routines, and detailed reports. He wrote letters describing troop movements, weather conditions, even personal complaints from his imaginary spies. The Germans trusted him so much, they paid him to maintain this network, and it worked. His false information played a crucial role in misleading Germany about the location of D-Day. Entire divisions were sent to the wrong place because of information that didn't exist. Number 8. The battle fought by accident. During the final days of World War II, something happened that almost seems impossible. American soldiers and German soldiers fought side by side. It took place during the Battle of Castle Itter. The castle held high-profile French prisoners, including politicians and military leaders. As the war collapsed around them, an SS unit moved in to take control. A small group of US soldiers arrived, but they were heavily outnumbered. Then something unexpected happened. A group of German soldiers who had turned against the Nazis joined them. Together, former enemies defended the castle. Gunfire echoed through the walls as they held off repeated attacks. Number 7. A wrong turn changed a major battle. During the Battle of the Bulge, one small mistake had massive consequences. In the chaos of a night advance, a German tank commander made a critical navigation error. His unit took the wrong road. Instead of pushing toward a key Allied position, they ended up miles away from their intended target. In a fast-moving offensive, timing was everything, and that mistake cost them hours the Allies desperately needed. American forces used that time to regroup, reinforce defensive lines, and prepare for the incoming attack. What could have been a sudden breakthrough turned into a stalled advance. Confusion spread through German units as coordination began to break down. Momentum, once lost, was difficult to regain. Number 6. One man held off an entire army. During the brutal fighting in Italy, one soldier made a stand that seemed almost impossible. His name was Audie Murphy. In 1945, his unit was hit by a massive German assault. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and running out of ammunition. Murphy ordered his men to fall back, while he stayed behind, alone. Nearby, a tank destroyer had been hit and was now burning. Most soldiers would have taken cover. Murphy did the opposite. He climbed onto the wreckage, fully exposed to enemy fire, and took control of the mounted machine gun. For nearly an hour, he held the line, firing continuously, calling in artillery strikes, refusing to retreat. Enemy troops advanced and were pushed back. If you're still watching, subscribe now. Because the next facts reveal stories so unbelievable, they sound like movie plots, and the final one might be one of the strangest military stories that ever happened. Number 5. The pigeon that saved hundreds before modern communication systems. Before secure radios and satellites, armies relied on something far more fragile: messenger pigeons. These birds were trained to carry critical messages across active battlefields, flying through gunfire, explosions, and chaos. When every other form of communication failed, they were often the last hope. One of the most famous was a pigeon named Cher Ami. In 1918, nearly 200 American soldiers were trapped behind enemy lines, cut off from reinforcements, surrounded by enemy forces, and worst of all, being hit by their own artillery. They had one chance. A message had to get through. Cher Ami was released into the sky, carrying the coordinates that could save them, but almost immediately, the bird was struck by enemy fire, shot through the chest, blinded in one eye, and with one leg nearly torn off. Still, it kept flying. Against all odds, it reached its destination. The message was delivered, the shelling stopped, and the soldiers were saved. Number 4. The ship that pretended to be an island. During World War II, survival sometimes depended on more than firepower. Sometimes it required pure creativity. In 1942, as Japanese forces rapidly advanced through Southeast Asia, Allied ships were being hunted across the ocean. After devastating defeats like the Battle of the Java Sea, retreat was the only option. One Dutch ship, the HNLMS Abraham Cranston, found itself alone, surrounded by enemy patrols, with no protection, and a long journey ahead to Australia. Escape seemed impossible, so the crew made a decision that sounded completely absurd. They would turn their ship into an island. Sailors began cutting trees and vegetation from nearby land, covering the deck in foliage. They painted the hull to resemble rock, breaking up its shape from above. From the air, it no longer looked like a ship. It looked like part of the landscape. During the day, they remained completely still, silent, disguised. At night, they moved, slowly, carefully, inching their way towards safety, day after day, repeating the process, and somehow it worked. Number 3. One photo revealed a secret weapon. In 1944, high above occupied Europe, Allied reconnaissance pilots were capturing images that would change the course of the war. From thousands of feet in the air, cameras scanned the ground below, searching for anything unusual. And then they found something. Hidden along the French coastline were long, concrete structures unlike anything seen before. Massive ramps, all pointing in the same direction, toward England. At first, analysts weren't sure what they were looking at, but as more photos came in, a pattern began to emerge. These weren't ordinary military installations. They were launch sites, designed for a new kind of weapon, the V2 rocket, a missile capable of traveling faster than the speed of sound, striking targets without warning. If deployed at full scale, it could devastate entire cities. But there was one advantage: the sites had been discovered before they were fully operational. Allied bombers were quickly dispatched. Wave after wave of airstrikes targeted the launch facilities, destroying many before they could be used. Number 2, the dam busters used a bouncing bomb. In 1943, the British launched one of the most daring missions of World War II. Their target wasn't a city or an army. It was something far more strategic: massive dams. Deep inside Nazi Germany, these structures powered factories, supplied water, and supported the entire war industry. Destroy them, and the impact would be devastating. But there was a problem. The dams were heavily defended, protected by anti-aircraft guns and underwater nets designed to stop torpedoes. A direct attack seemed impossible, so engineers came up with something completely unexpected: a bomb that could bounce. Designed by Barnes Wallace, the weapon was dropped at low altitude, spinning backwards as it hit the water. Instead of sinking, it skipped across the surface, straight toward the dam, clearing the defenses, before striking the wall, sinking, and detonating with precision. The mission, known as Operation Chastise, caused massive flooding across the region. Factories were destroyed, infrastructure collapsed, and entire areas were thrown into chaos. Number 1, the raid that changed the war. In 1942, just months after Pearl Harbor, the United States made a bold and dangerous decision: strike back. Not at sea, not on distant battlefields, but directly at Japan itself. The mission was led by James Doolittle. 16 B-25 bombers were loaded onto an aircraft carrier in the Pacific Ocean, something never attempted before. These aircraft were never designed to take off from a ship. There was almost no margin for error as the carrier moved closer to enemy territory. The crews prepared for a mission they knew they might not survive. They wouldn't have enough fuel to return. One by one, the bombers roared down the short deck, lifting into the air, heading toward Tokyo. The physical damage was limited, but the psychological impact was enormous. For the first time, Japan realized its homeland was vulnerable. If you enjoyed this countdown, there are still many more incredible stories left to uncover, so don't forget to hit that follow button and click that notification sign so you never miss an Topify countdown in the future. Please let us know what stories surprised you the most, and let us know what U10 you would like to see next. Thanks for watching, and until next time.